Hello, welcome. I'm Claudia. If you're new here, this video is a little bit different, but I'm really excited to be sharing this with you because these lists are everywhere, right? But these are truly the plants that thrive on neglect for me. And it's not your stereotypical like ZZ or snake plant. Like, I'm actually pretty surprised that some of these do so well on serious neglect. And when I say serious neglect, I mean, if you've been following for a while or like seen my content on anywhere, you know that I am a chronic underwaterer. It's a real problem. And yeah, some of these plants, I go like 6 weeks between waterings plus, and I'm going to show you what they look like. So I'm going to be sharing 5 plants from this list plus 2 honorable mentions. The honorable mentions I'll explain a little bit more in detail as to why they're not quite on the list. But yes, when I tell you that these thrive on neglect, it's true neglect. Let me get the first plant and we'll get started. The first plant I'm going to show you is my Hoya australis Lisa. She is one of my first Hoyas and one of my oldest plants, probably. Yeah, maybe. I think I got her like 2020, maybe early 2021. So she's just, yeah, I've had her for at least 4 years. I'd say she was a pretty small plant and has grown into this beauty. I know that I've gotten a couple comments before of people saying that they don't like love australis Lisa. I think she's really cute. The new leaves come in really cute with some pink on them. I find her I especially love her because I find her incredibly easygoing. To a fault, I think. I can't even tell you the last time I watered this plant. 2 months ago, easy, if not more. Her leaves are a little bit soft, but like frankly, I'm not gonna water her today, probably for not another week or so. She is still in her original pot and substrate that she arrived in. I can see 2 dry leaves right here, but I mean, they were probably older and getting ready to retire anyway. I don't know that they have necessarily anything to do with the fact that it hasn't been watered. It has, I don't know if I said this, did I? It has really pretty like pink new growth. It grows vigorously, consistently. It has not bloomed for me, and it's not for a lack of stress, I'll tell you that. But yeah, she's easy peasy. I've never had any kind of issue with her before. Like I said, I don't even water her frequently at all. I can't remember the last time I did. And she just grows. She gives me no trouble at all. She lives over on my east-facing window over here on the window shelves. And yeah, she just hangs out. Eventually, at some point, I gave her this trellis. It's also a copper wire, and you're not really supposed to put the copper in the soil. I can tell you this is all the way in there as far as it goes. And this plant is doing just fine. So yeah, australis Lisa, very, very hardy. Next plant on this list is another Hoya, and it is none other than my crimson princess. I've said this before, I'm not positive that she's an actual, like a true crimson princess. I have to back up. But that is what I bought her as. Now, where do I start with this one? I'll start by saying, actually, I haven't watered this since I placed it up in that top shelf, and I can find when that date was, so I will add that in the screen because I did it in a video with you. Having said that, she is very, very thirsty, and I will be taking her in the shower after this to give her a nice thorough watering. But even with that, can we talk about her growth tips and growing points? These are new leaves she's given me. Her growth point is nice and healthy. It's not dried up. And there are a few, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 leaves that are dry in the crown. But overall, like, she looks good. I'm sorry, you can't tell me otherwise. She is just such a hardy plant. I find her to be a pretty like consistent grower. She also gives like the pink sun-stressy new leaves, which are super cute. She has the pink vines when they're first emerging. Yeah, she's a very pretty plant, incredibly low maintenance. I would say very, very similar to the Australis Lisa, like as far as care and resilience go. I neglect them probably about the same, and I will say this one definitely shows more visual signs of stress, like it's wrinkly, very soft and floppy, whereas the Australis Lisa, like I can forget about her more because rarely, if ever, are there any signs of she's stressed out. But I mean, yeah, she's gorgeous, she's huge, grows constantly. Her growth points are nice and healthy. I'm really curious to look up the date of when is the last time that I watered her, because I can guarantee you it's been nothing short of 6 weeks at least. And that is pretty standard for her. In addition to that, she lives up there getting low light at best. At best, that never gets any kind of direct sun. It's just ambient room light. I do have a lot of grow lights here, but that wall doesn't, I mean, especially up there, doesn't have anything. There is a tiny window at the very top, but it's north facing. So yeah, there's not a lot of light happening over there, and she just lives her best life. She is completely Claudia proof. And if you like to neglect your plants as well, I highly, highly recommend this one. I moved a little because lighting is getting a little tricky, but something I forgot to mention about my Hoya Crimson Princess is she is also still in her original pot with her original gross peat mix that she came in when I purchased her. And I probably got her in 2021, so I've had her for at least 4-ish years now, maybe a little bit longer. So yeah, the next 2 plants I'm going to have to insert B-roll, but I will start with my money tree, my large money tree. I used to have a smaller one and he was very, very similar, but my large money tree in particular, that thing also never gets watered. I cannot remember the last time I watered it. I will say during one of the fits of months worth of not watering, months, maybe like 2.5 or 3, it did drop a lot of leaves, but it was still growing even when that happened. This money tree, I find it so resilient. It gets, well, right now it probably gets like medium to high light. It hangs over, or it lives over in my breakfast nook area, and there is a skylight right above it, and there's also the glass door, and my kitchen in general just does get pretty good light most of the day. So it's probably getting medium to bright light. I've never measured it, but I've also had it live before where my grow cart currently is, and even though that window wall area is southwest facing, I do, like, it is partially covered. There's a covered porch area, and then the house comes out longer than where that wall does. So it doesn't really get as much light as you would anticipate from those windows. But it's always thrived for me. I actually got the money tree at Lowe's. I think I found it, I don't know, I've had it for at least 3 or 4 years, also similar-ish timeline. And I found it at Lowe's. I think it was like $60 or something. It was probably like 4.5 feet tall when I got it. It's probably like 6 feet or higher now. And like I said, I did, when I went an extended or a longer extended period of time without watering, I did lose a lot of those bottom leaves, but it continued to grow. And even now I water it maybe like once a month-ish, if that, maybe once every 6 weeks, and it grows vigorously. The leaves are beautiful. I will at some point, or like some points in the year, I kind of do have high leaf turnover, but I mean, it's a very nice, healthy, bushy looking plant with huge leaves. So I find it incredibly easy. I have had people ask, whether on social media or like my brother's actually tried with several different money trees and he's been unsuccessful. And I really don't know what to say other than don't water them. And I mean, not ever, but like water very, very seldomly. Almost treat like a succulent or a cactus, where Once the soil is completely dry, wait another week or 2 or 3 before you actually water, then give them a thorough watering. I always water all my plants with my nutrient-rich cocktail, but other than that, I really wouldn't know what else to say because it's lived in lower light and higher light, and the only common denominator is that I'm terrible at watering it or neglecting it in general. Or not I'm terrible, I'm good at neglecting it and terrible at watering it. One thing I'll note about money trees is their root systems tend to be super shallow, like just very, like even my big tree, the roots are probably only like this much. Like the root ball is very small in comparison to the plant size. So, and they're usually potted, and I feel like what's much larger than they actually need. So maybe that's why my underwatering ways work for it, because the substrate is holding on to sufficient water. I don't know. Also, all our environments are different, so it's really hard to say. I just know that truly this plant gets almost no attention from me, and it grows all the time. It has beautiful leaves, and yeah, it's gorgeous. B-roll will be inserted for this next plant as well, but it is none other than my absolute favorite plant, Ficus tineke, and both of them. So I can say that it's the plant, it's not me, you know? I have said before, I think one is a true tineke and one is a sylvie, but either way, they both get pretty neglected and they grow vigorously and look beautiful. Like, can you tell me any other plant that you have that looks this good while not being watered for 2 and 2.5 months at a time? I mean, other than the 3 previous I've mentioned, I really can't say that about many plants, but truly, these plants get watered so seldomly. I do give them my nutrient-rich cocktail. My nutrient-rich cocktail does have the bug hut biologicals, and one of them is the de-stressor, which helps with like nature's sort of events like drought or extreme temperatures and things like that, so it helps make the plant stronger. But even before I was using bug hut biologicals, because I've had these plants now for at least 5 years, well, I did get one before the other, but I feel like, yeah, at least, I mean, I've had them for at least as long as we've lived in this house, and which we're coming up on 5 years, and I didn't start using bug hut till maybe like the 2nd year. Anyway, my point is, even before using the bug hut biologicals, which includes the de-stressor, which, you know, helps plants against drought and cold and whatever, they were still being watered very seldomly. I think my underwatering, by the way, I'm going on a tangent now, but I think my underwatering stems from like fear of overwatering, and then I just took it to another level. My point is, I've always been a chronic underwaterer, so whether it was, I'm sure the bug hut biologicals are helping, but even before that, they were still really resilient and easygoing plants. And I can also give you the date, I believe, of the last time I watered the one here in the office plant space, and I will note it on the screen, and it was quite a long time ago. I feel like the one in the living room I watered more recently than that for sure. But again, tell me a plant, even for a month, that you completely neglect and don't even do a single thing for a month and that looks this good and is actively growing. I love Ficus tineke because it's gorgeous. I truly feel like every leaf is like just like nature's beautiful, unique watercolor painting, and it's just truly unreal to me. I just feel it's the prettiest plant, and the fact that it's so easily accessible is just another layer of why it's so wonderful. And then the fact that it's so resilient and easygoing and Claudia proof is just the icing on the cake. On to my 2 honorable mentions, and I'll explain why. But first, it's my Begonia fanny moser. So I want to give her an honorable mention just because I haven't had her that long, so I feel like I don't know that I'm really qualified to say how much Claudia proof she is and how much neglect she can really take. I've had her for less than a year for sure. She has been growing vigorously, and I feel like I can count in one hand how many times I've watered her. I'd have to insert the date though of when I actually got her in order for that to make sense. But I feel like I haven't had her that terribly long, maybe 6 months, 8 months tops. And again, I feel like I can count in one hand how many times I've watered her so far. And she is growing very nicely. She looks very cute. She does kind of have a film from the last time I sprayed her down with my DIY pest repellent. So I should probably wipe the leaves or something, but yeah, she's cute. She does her thing. She seems to be very resilient and very easygoing. And also she lives in pretty low light. I just recently added a clip light to some of the plants next to her, so she's getting a little bit from them, but she was living in very low minimum ambient light for most of the time, like up until a month-ish ago or so. And yeah, she was, I mean, yeah, like look at her. She looks great, right? Like no complaints, just a really cute, pretty plant doing her thing. I do want to chop her soon because this is just a single vine and I would like to have it just a little bit bushier. I find her to be very pretty with the super dark leaves and the pink polka dots. And yeah, again, I can't say for sure or how much neglect she can really take yet, but so far she's looking really promising and making that list. Finally, the last honorable mention is my spider plant. So she's an honorable mention, I guess, yeah, I should explain. She didn't quite make the list because she's definitely a lot thirstier than all of the other plants that I mentioned. She really will like lose color and start looking very like faded and pale when she's really thirsty. She will also crisp up, like she's thirsty right now, but I'm not gonna water her yet. But I want to give her an honorable mention because she is a vigorous grower with very minimal attention, if at all. Like when I see her looking very droopy and pale, I will sprinkle a tiny little bit of water. It's usually not my nutrient-rich cocktail because of where she lived most of her life. She now lives on top of the bar cart, so she has been getting my nutrient-rich cocktail as of recent, but her life before that, she lived in the kitchen next to the stove. So I would just, I mean, from like my water bottle, I would dribble 2 to 3 ounces of water and she'd perk up so quick. And again, such a vigorous grower with the most minimal attention. So I feel like I had to mention, I know that she's a super common one, but I find her to be very cute. I think that this plant looks really cute on top of something or hanging, and I actually do want to get more varieties of her, but I am a little bit nervous that they might not be as easygoing as this. Also, funny story about this one, my brother actually is growing this outside at his house, and he just got a baby and potted it up in this huge pot, and it's just been growing so vigorously since. I think I've only had it for maybe a year, if that, or maybe coming up on a year, and it's grown that much. So yeah, pretty resilient. I wouldn't say completely Claudia proof, but like I really don't have to worry about it at all. That's my list. There are other plants that I thought about mentioning, like my Anthurium veitchi or Wendy. Like I really give them little attention, but I wouldn't quite say that they thrive on neglect. Like my veitchi maintains, he doesn't really grow, and I know that they're slow growers already, but it just, yeah, I wouldn't say it thrives on it. Same with the Wendy. So yeah, I really wanted to include plants that, in spite of being neglected, they are vigorous growers and look great. So there you have it. I'd love to know what you think about my list and what your experience has been with some of these plants. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or what are some plants that you find look their best when you neglect them? And of course, if you have any questions, comments, video requests, let's chat down in the comments. I truly appreciate you spending your time with me. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon. Bye.